Hello and welcome to round 8 of Grand Prix Charleston. I'm Ben Swartz, joined here in the booth by Marshall Sutcliffe. Hi, Marshall.
Hey, everybody.
And we've got Brad Nelson on the left-hand side of your screen facing off against Jerry Thompson on the right-hand side of your screen. Best friends for right now, but after this match, we'll see.
Wow. GVB.
Don't know what that means, but we've seen both these players play earlier today. Jerry Thompson on a blue-white deck, and Brad Nelson on his, what would you call it? Junk accelerating?
Sure, yeah. Yeah.
I'm sure he has a more clever name.
Really fast junk. Yeah, that works.
But
All right, I see Jerry mark a second little notch there on the side of Brad, and my assumption here is that that means he's mulliganed twice.
Yeah, it looks like Brad is going to go down to 5 cards. It's not where he wants to be, especially because his deck has so few heavy hitters, right? He's got, as he said, was it 43 mana sources?
He said 49.
49?
But he was getting a little aggressive with his definition of a mana source. But still, he's got a ton of things that make mana, and he loves his deck.
Yeah.
Now, Jerry's playing blue-white, and we're going to see if Brad's deck is quick enough. Can it get in under, counter spells? Can it get it a bunch of stuff out before before Jerry's deck is able to create some pressure?
Well, Brad starts things off with a turn 1 Avacyn's Pilgrim.
Now, these guys are best friends. They play together all the time.
Yeah,
they do videos called what
GB
I was talking. Yeah.
TV?
No, Jerry versus Brad.
Oh, GVB TV?
Yeah, just whatever. Yeah, I don't know. Can you just leave the TV off? I don't know what that's for.
TV.
Yeah, TV. So they're very, very accustomed to playing against each other. You're going to see some very crisp play here. They barely even need to communicate. They already know exactly what's going on ahead of time. They know each other's play styles, and they know exactly what they're doing here. But make no mistake, they know they're on camera, and they want to beat their best buddy on camera. Man, if me and you were playing on camera, I want to beat you so bad.
Wow, I'm right here.
That's why I'm telling you.
So a pair of Avacyn's Pilgrims for Brad. He mulched on his previous turn, putting a Lingering Souls in the graveyard. Jerry played an Augur of Bolas and used it to get an appointed damage, dropping Brad to 17 because he took 2 off of his Overgrown Tomb. Brad's going to take no time and flash back that Lingering Souls to get 2 1/1 flying spirits into play.
Now, is he going to attack?
With his Avacyn Pilgrim?
He's got a Craterhoof Behemoth in hand, some lands.
No, he's just going to
like
pass
he's
it back.
going to pass the turn back. Now, what is he afraid of? A Snapcaster Mage here? Looks like Jerry's just going to cycle an Azorius Charm. Draws another land. He's got plenty of those.
I think that Brad just doesn't have anything to cast.
To cast? You mean Jerry?
Jerry, I think, has a Restoration Angel in his hand.
Now he does, but the last turn, Brad just didn't attack with his 2 Avacyn's Pilgrims into blue-white.
I think
Didn't want to trade one for a Snapcaster Mage?
That doesn't
Jerry,
seem right.
It doesn't seem like... Yeah, we'll
I'm
have to
not
ask
sure.
him.
Whatever.
We can probably ask him.
Is that a Guild Gate in Jerry's hand?
No, come on. Get out of here. It's got to be a Hallowed Fountain. Right?
Look at it. Look at that top card in his hand.
All right. That's a Guild Gate.
Azorius Guild Gate.
What just happened? He just wanted one more. He's probably just got like a 1 of or something. That's interesting. All right, now Brad has been able to build up a bit of an army here. He does have a Gavany Township as well. And Jerry just keeps passing the turn back. Tracker's
Instinct? Oh, wow, that's really good.
What did he hit?
He hit Burial Rites and another Tracker's Instinct.
All right, Burial Rites is a good start. He's going to need something to hit with it. I know he's got 1 card in his hand that he'd like to have in his graveyard.
Which one is that?
Craterhoof Behemoth.
Sure. And as suspected, Jerry...
I think he actually is targeting himself with a Sphinx's Revelation.
Okay.
Or not target himself, but... I think
Sphinx Revelation.
Yeah, I think he cast that for 2.
Okay.
I can't see his graveyard, though, because it's off camera a little bit.
It's Jerry on taps with quite a few cards in his hand.
He's got a ton of cards, but really no pressure as of yet on Brad Nelson, and Brad has been able to develop his board as well. So even though Brad mulliganed twice to start things off, Jerry seems to be in a pretty reasonable, or excuse me, Brad seems to be in a pretty reasonable position here as he's building up advantage with his Gavany townships, and then ultimately, all right, so do you see what he's done? He's got a shortcut here. All of his creatures have 2 +1/+1 counters. That's what that dice is. So just imagine there was a dice on each guy.
It will get confusing when Brad starts adding more.
Yeah,
and more
he's gonna have to change it at that point.
So all the creatures except for the Arbor Elf have 2 +1/+1 counters on them, and now Brad's considering getting in there.
All right, so battle for 6 here. He still has an activation in his pocket if he wants to use it as well. Jerry's got a million cards here, so you got to figure he's got something he can do.
Jerry's thinking. No creature in his graveyard, so he can't activate that Moral Taunt, but
pretty
yeah,
awkward.
He'll just take 6. Go down to 16.
Brad does not activate his township before damage.
Instead, he's going to post-combat Flashback Tracker's Instinct.
All right, here comes some more dice.
Okay, so Tracker's Instinct resolve. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Gets an Avacyn Pilgrim. Not really what he wanted there.
What's that last card right there?
Another Avacyn. Oh, Shimmering Grotto?
Yeah, that is what that is, isn't it? Strange.
Yeah. He needs access to blue, which is a little tough for him to get.
Okay.
He'll cast the Avacyn Pilgrim he drew off the Tracker's Instinct. And pass the turn back after casting another Avacyn Pilgrim. All 4 Avacyn Pilgrim in play.
You got rewound?
Okay, he played Arbor Elf first, then Avacyn Pilgrim. The Avacyn Pilgrim got rewound. Think Twice was cast by Jerry.
He just left. Again, these guys know each other so well that they play pretty quickly. He just left 2 of the mana tapped instead of going through the motions there, it looks like. Oh, no, never mind. He just made... No, yeah, that's exactly what he did, and he's going to target himself with the Thought Scour and move to untap. All right, so he's got a little momentum going now, but still he's up against a ton of pressure. And does his deck have the ability to dig himself out of this hole in game 1?
Like a Supreme Verdict or something. I'm
I
not sure.
don't think he runs those game 1, but he might.
Well, either way, Jerry passes the turn back to Brad.
After playing his Guild Gate.
And we'll swing in with the team. So let's see if Jerry has something to say about this.
Brad's going to take a quick look at Jerry's graveyard here.
No creatures, right?
I don't believe so, although he did just Thought Scour himself. He might have hit one there. All right, looks like he's going to flash back that Azorius Charm maybe. Block, block, block. It's going to force Brad to use his Gavany Township. So I think he double blocked the Avacyn's Pilgrim and then maybe just blocked the other Avacyn's Pilgrim with his Augur.
So does Brad want to use Gavany Township here to force through 2 more damage? Deal 8 to Jerry?
I mean, 8's a lot of damage, but I guess
6 is fine.
Yeah, 6 is about the same anyway because he can just activate next turn and still get a kill.
Tracker's Instinct again, I think. See what 4 cards we dredge up now.
So what did Jerry end up flashing back?
I'm not sure.
He might have. Maybe it's rewind.
Okay, that would make some sense. I mean, did he flash anything back?
Well, no, I don't think he's flashed anything back yet. But I mean, he did play a Snapcaster.
But he cast Snapcaster on Thoughtscour, right?
He had 2 Snapcasters though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
See,
that's
now
right,
he's
yeah.
playing something. Yeah, I didn't see what it was, but it was something. Maybe just think twice. Okay. So let's see if Jerry can get things going here.
We've received the 2 players' lists. Looks like Jerry will have some preparation for the following 2 games in the form of rest in peace in his graveyard. But you have to imagine that Jerry knows what Brad's up to. They traveled to this event together.
Yeah.
They're staying here together. Best friends until they meet
Yeah, this
in the 8th round together.
temporarily suspended.
Rune Chanter's Pike comes down for Jerry.
But Jerry's at a lethal life total here. He also did not equip, it looks like.
But
Is this going to be the big boy?
yep, Crater Height Behemoth comes down hard cast for Brad.
Yep.
And Jerry's seen enough. So we're going to go to a game 2 here. Brad winning the first game here, even though he mulliganed to 5.
He won that game pretty handily. Jerry was really never able to get any momentum going at all. All right, let's take a look at
Brian
Kibler. He's on the right side of your screen, and Daryl Ayers is on the left.
Kibler, as we saw earlier, is playing his green-white deck. Daryl seems to be playing a similar blue-white tempo deck, blue-white-black control deck, the Super Friends deck. Taking a look at his deck list here. Yeah, it's a blue-white-black Esper control deck.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
It's a sweet island. That's like my favorite island ever right there. All right. And it looks like the game has ended here. I'm assuming that Daryl won that one.
Yep, I think the Twitter hashtag hoof there it is has started trending after that last game.
Hoofed him. He hoofed him good.
But there we see. Did you see who won that game? That was Kibler's game, right?
No, I don't know. I think Daryl won that one, but there was a scoop. Yeah, Daryl won that one. It was hard to tell because they were both at like 6 and 7. But
there's the feature match area for you guys. You see David Ochoa, Shahar Shenhar, Luis Scott Vargas, Florian Koch, Brad Nelson, and Jerry T.
Take a look at the floor area here.
A lot of Magic still being played, a lot of Magic to be played here at beautiful Charleston.
Well,
there's 2 more rounds, this round and the next round today. And there's a lot of rounds tomorrow. Top 8, we got to crown a champion somehow.
Yeah.
It just doesn't happen randomly.
No.
I'm
Brad
Ben
Nelson's. No, go ahead.
I'm Ben Swartz, and here with Marshall Sutcliffe, just to remind you guys.
Yep, we're in round 8 here in Charleston, and Brad mulliganed to 5, but was able to win anyway, and pretty handily, really. I mean, he seemed to be in pretty good position for the majority of that game, and Jerry just didn't have any answers. Once he fell behind, it looked like Jerry's deck had a hard time regaining any momentum. Now, I'm looking at sideboards here, though, and it looks like that's going to change significantly here.
It looks like Jerry's going to board into more of a controlling deck. He's got Rest in Peace and Supreme Verdict.
He's got 3 of each of those, and those are both excellent versus Brad. In fact, those cards alone kind of take care of the majority. Oh, really? Oh, really? Wow, there's some really spicy stuff here. I wonder if he's going to bring this one in.
Yeah, I think he will.
I like it. That's one of my favorite cards to play in Limited for obvious reasons, and I'd love to see it resolved here in Standard as well.
What about Brad's sideboard? What does he got
take a look at
that's good
well,
against?
so I want to talk about this because Jerry's board, Rest in Peace and Supreme Verdict, really hits the 2 main angles that Brad's deck is trying to hit. Graveyard Recursion. Also with flashback spells, remember, Rest in Peace only lets you cast them the one time, and then Supreme Verdict to wipe away the stuff that's left over. So that's good. Now looking over here at Brad's list, his sideboard is just, what does this even do?
He's got Cavern of Souls to protect himself.
Cavern of Souls and Angel of Serenity are big game for sure.
And Loxodon Smiter. He's likely going to board in against the counter spells. Maybe.
Yeah, so maybe he just goes with a little bit more of a streamlined beatdown plan as opposed, like, because if Brad thinks that Jerry's going to be boarding in rest in pieces, I mean, Brad can just say, all right, well, we're not going to mess around with any of this other nonsense and just play like a more streamlined kind of a green-white based beatdown deck.
Players have drawn their opening hands. Are we going to see some more mulligans out of Brad? No,
we do see a Smiter in Brad's hand, so he definitely brought that guy in.
Well, Jerry mulligans down to 6 cards.
I call him the brick.
The what?
The brick.
The Smiter?
Yeah, it's just a big brick. You just set him on the table, attack a few times. He's the brick.
I don't quite follow, but okay.
Nothing else to know, buddy. It's the brick. Brick ya.
So the winner of this match will still be undefeated going into the final round of Swiss here. Brad still has a draw, as we saw from round 4.
Now, is Brad a lock to day 2 at 6-0-1? Or if you're 6-2-1, are you not in or borderline or whatever?
6-2-1, you're not going to make it.
Okay. So he does need a win here. Or he doesn't need a win here, but he certainly would like a win here to lock up day 2. And Jerry is already a lock for day 2.
But that's not really what they're thinking about. You can't think about it in that way. You think about Grand Prix as one tournament, not 2 separate days. You want to win the tournament.
Well, I kind of disagree with you on that.
What?
I think it's actually 2 separate tournaments. It's just day 2 isn't the second tournament. The top 8 is. Because in reality, no, it is. It's like a satellite, right? It's like in order to make it to the top 8, it doesn't matter if you're in 1st or 8th. You just need to get to that point, and then you restart everything again. It's not like if you're first going into the top 8, you win anything extra. Now, you do get to be on the play, which is not irrelevant, but I mean, certainly not comparable to like either top 8 or not.
So play started off here. Turn 1, Arbor Elf for Brad Nelson. A turn 2, Rest in Peace for Jerry. And Brad follows that up with a turn 2, Tracker's Instinct into Deathrite Shaman. Now,
Deathrite Shaman looks pretty bad.
Yeah, with
Rest in Peace. Yeah.
A 1-2 for 1.
That's right. Now, the good news is that, Brad's deck does have things like Avony Township to make even harmless 1-1s and 1-2s into big monsters if the game goes for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I think Brad had to have known that Jerry was going to board in graveyard removal, so he boarded into more of just a green aggressive deck. Boarding in his Smiters, his Restoration Angels, his Thragtusks, his Cavern of Souls. A little transformation of the sideboard. But he's still got some graveyard cards in his hand. I see Grizzly Salvage sitting there in his hand. But he'll start bashing in with that Deathrite Shaman, dropping Jerry down to 19.
The big bashes here.
Yeah. The New Year's bash.
So I see a Cavern of Souls for Brad Nelson.
Be careful what you name with that.
Yeah, this is actually pretty important.
So
he passed a turn back?
Yeah.
Oh, because he's got an Angel?
Yeah, I assume he named Angel and...
Yeah. He named Beast.
He named Beast?
Yeah, now, because that's an Arbor Elf, right? That's not a...
It's not an Avis.
So is he just doing nothing this turn? What am I missing here? What is he going to do?
I couldn't tell you.
Does he have an Abrupt Decay to blow up the Rest in Peace? Is that even a play that you would make? I mean, he could have played a Smiter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he just does nothing.
Well, he couldn't have played a Smiter because you'd have to name the Cavern of Souls.
Well, that's what I mean.
But he'd rather name
Elephant
because Thragtusk is
it's just more important.
impactful.
Okay. So it slows down his momentum, but it's better for the long game. That seems fine.
Or at least that's the argument he's making to
Yeah, and do you agree with it?
I think so.
I think so, too. Like, just having a Smiter out there is not really, like, that amazing. There's that stupid Centaur that's supposed to be a beast. It's tricking us all day.
Supreme Verdict comes down, wipes the board, except for the beast that Thragtusk creates. Grizzly Salvage. Brad's going to cast. Unfortunately, the cards hitting the graveyard aren't going to do much because of Rest in Peace.
But probably going to take that Thragtusk. It's the only one I can see. Oh, he needs a white source still. Yeah. Bummer. He hates to see that Thragtusk go, but...
He's going to be able to cast Smiter this turn.
There you go.
But he decides against it. He doesn't want to take any damage from his lands.
Interesting. I'm sure that they've tested this matchup, so he certainly knows what's going on here. It's just interesting how he's pretty patient with it. I'd feel, for some reason, some, pressure to, keep committing more stuff to the board a little sooner, but he doesn't seem to be Not worried about it here.
Yeah, I mean, you expect that Jerry's going to cast a creature of his own at some point, and he'll have to advance the board
Mulch.
somehow.
Well,
Mulch will
he
get
draws
him
a land off of mulch. That's all that happens. He cycles it for a land. Pretty miserable.
But
And a
Smiter
smiter.
comes down. Cannot be countered. Passes it back to Jerry.
Man, naming cavern on like elephant or whatever is like double can't be countered.
Angel of Serenity for Jerry is going to take
Wow.
out take out Brad's creatures, and now we've got a real game on our hands.
So Jerry just playing the very, very simple control deck route of hitting every land drop, playing a Wrath, and then a few turns later playing a big Angel. They've been doing that for a long time, and no different here. All right, Lingering Souls for minimal value. And that Rest in Peace is just doing tons of work versus Brad. Now, we saw earlier that Brad couldn't answer a Curse of Death's hold, and I don't think he has an answer for Rest in Peace either.
Yeah, but he's less worried about Rest in Peace.
I mean, have you seen what it's done this game?
I mean, it's very, very good, but he's still capable of being a beatdown deck.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. He can still cast Skies, use his townships. But man, it's taken away like such a huge,
of course,
edge that Brad's deck has.
It's one of the downsides of playing a graveyard-based deck.
Yeah, for sure.
But instead, he's going to use Lingering Souls in his Gavany Township to start pumping out some larger tokens. The clock, though, is hitting hard in the form of Angel Serenity. Deathrite Shaman comes down for Brad. Another card that's hurt by Rest in Peace. End of turn Restoration Angel.
Now, how does that work?
He's not going to flash the Angel Serenity.
He can't anyway.
Oh, it's an angel, yeah.
Yep.
So, Detention Sphere takes out the 2 spirits, but Brad has an angel, Restoration Angel of his own, that's going to...
It's going to get in the way of the
Jerry's,
other Restoration Angel, and now all of a sudden Brad's going to have a much sweeter Restoration Angel than Jerry. Jerry just keeps hitting lands. Do you smell a big Sphinx's Revelation?
Yeah. I don't see how Brad's going to pull out of this game. It's going to be tough.
Yeah, this does not look like a great spot for Brad. His board is currently woefully inferior.
It does not look like a Sphinx's Revelation, but a Thought Scour instead. Milling 2 cards off of Brad's deck and drawing himself a card.
Any reason why he would target Brad there? I mean, Jerry's deck usually actively wants things in the graveyard.
But there's Rest in Peace,
so it just doesn't matter who you target.
Yeah, and he doesn't want to show Brad what he's boarded in.
Okay, there you go. There it is. All right. I knew it was something
Behemoth.
small. I just didn't know what it was. All right, there's a Craterhoof Behemoth. He's going to attack.
+3/+3 to all my guys.
Wow. Is this lethal?
Is that the lethal top deck? Jerry's at 11.
It's 17, and he can only prevent 4 of it.
And that's game.
That's
wow.
game.
Brad Nelson takes out Jerry Thompson.
Wow.
2-0 here in round 8.
And we had a kind of written off Brad there, but, he does have that big punch card in his deck for a very good reason, and there it was.
Watch out for Craterhoof Behemoth. That's the
incredible.
Real deal. So now we're going to take a quick look back at Brian Kibler versus Daryl Ayers. Kibler on the right with the Triumph of Frosty in play.
And a Rest in Peace.
Yep, and Daryl on the left.
I'm assuming that Thalia over there is not living. I'm not 100% sure, but that's an assumption I'm making here because it's way off to the side.
We'll figure out about that in a second. Lingering Souls comes into play, or gets cast and puts 2 Paulo Vitor Dominarosa tokens into play. You know what we missed?
What did we miss?
You want to know something interesting that Brad did?
What's that?
Remember Cavern of Souls? What did he name?
Oh,
He
interesting.
named Beast, and Craterhoof Behemoth happens to be a beast.
I did not know Craterhoof Behemoth was a beast. So not only did it get him the Thragtusk, but also
the hoof.
the hoof. Wow. Brad Nelson.
He's
Hoofing.
on another level.
He's hoofing.
So all the cards have been removed from the game because of Rest in Peace. Kibler on his turn is going to cast Silverblade Paladin and pair it with the Thalia and attack in there with the 2/1 double striker.
The Thalia, who is alive.
Yep. Now Triumph of Ferocity is not online. Kibler does not have the creature with the highest power, but doesn't matter. Tragic Slip is going to take out the Silverblade Paladin using Morbid after the 1/1 Spirit stepped in front of the Thalia. Oh, wow. That was actually an interesting play. Daryl let normal damage resolve so that his token died, and before first strike damage resolved, he destroyed the Silverblade Paladin, so the creatures became unpaired, so that the damage wasn't dealt. It didn't end up mattering.
So you mean he
creatures
let
blocked.
first strike go first and then before normal damage?
It didn't matter, but an interesting thing to keep track of.
For sure.
But
All right, so it looks like a Restoration Angel for Brian Kibler is going to, it's on the stack. Forbidden Alchemy for Daryl Ayers, and he's got to pay one more. So he forgot to pay for the Thalia, and that's going to certainly change what he can take here, because it looks like Kibler's Restoration Angel is going to resolve here. Hoofed him. Brad Nelson cheering GVB as he walked by.
So some amount of damage is going to resolve. And
so is that Smiter under a detention sphere up there? Is that what's going on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Silverblade Paladin on Restoration Angel. Does Daryl have something to say about this?
Brings the beats. That's 9 damage.
6, 7, 8, 9, yeah. Drop Daryl to 4. And pass the turn. Now Daryl really needs something.
This seems to be an important turn now. Daryl has to he just keeps on attacking.
Does he have like a Supreme Verdict, or he's got a Lingering Souls?
Now he's got to remember Thalia here. I see he's got a Snapcaster Mage. He can Snapcaster. Oh, he just got the Supreme Verdict. Make sure he pays 5.
Yep, that's the box top promo.
That looks sweet.
Supreme Verdict to take out the field. And Daryl's left with a Snapcaster Mage and a Lingering Souls, but Brian Kibler has Thragtusk to come back in a post-Supreme Verdict world. Snapcaster comes into play at end of turn.
I thought I was watching a movie.
Daryl
in a
untaps.
post-Supreme Verdict world.
And just passes the turn back.
Did he just ship it back?
Okay, never mind. He's going to cast Lingering Souls, as I said.
Okay, but that's also still not super relevant, because now, boom, trigger from Triumph of Ferocity. Kibler gets to draw a card and his normal draw step, and this is going to start generating him a ton of advantage. Also, Kibler, he could consider attacking, so this is interesting. Let's see what Kibler has. Another Thalia.
Okay.
You find that, ooh.
But the more important card is Gavany Township.
Gavany Township, much more important, because it takes away. Yeah, he's just going to start chump blocking, it looks like.
And another Snapcaster. Daryl's seen enough. Brian Kibler wins the second game here, ties it up at 1 game apiece, while the players go to Game 3 here in Round 8 of Grand Prix Charleston.
Why did he scoop there?
I believe he was dead on board, right? He was at 4 life. And
But he had a Snapcaster and 2 tokens. There's no trample there.
I guess I'm...
Maybe I missed something. He was at 4, right? Like he could just block.
Block all 3. Kibler only had 3 creatures, right? So.
Kibler had 2, right?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I'm not sure.
It just seemed... I don't know.
Maybe he knew he was dead.
Yeah, he might have just known.
So I think we're going to be able to see maybe Luis for Shahar's game.
A lot of people love the hoof. Brad Nelson hoofing people, they really like it. Hey, I know one guy that probably didn't like it that much. But
Gerald Thompson.
that's the one.
So we're going to get a game for you guys very soon. Thanks for sticking with us. Just this round, one more round to go here to finish things off for day 1 of Grand Prix Charleston. The hometown of the Charleston Chew.
Wait, I thought we decided that they named...
The city was named after the candy. It's
Yeah.
a well-known fact.
Yeah, that's a confirmed true fact. No, we found out that the Charleston Chew is named after a dance.
Which was named after the town, which was named after the candy. Everybody knows.
It all came full circle. All right. So, one of the things that I've noticed that we haven't seen here is a true aggressive deck.
Yeah, we haven't seen any of the zombie decks. We haven't seen any of the mono red decks.
Yeah.
The truest aggressive deck that we saw was Sam Black playing his green-white humans deck in round 1.
Yeah.
Or round 4, rather.
And we've seen that Kibler's deck has the ability to be pretty explosive, but I'd call it a little bit more towards mid-range than aggressive. Although, If you guys are just joining us, this is round 8 here in Charleston, South Carolina. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe. I am joined in the booth by the guy drinking some water right now, Ben Schwartz. I'll say your name for you. I got you. I got you covered. So it looks like that was the equalizer for Brian Kibler, sitting at 7-0 with a deck that he's very comfortable with, a green-white deck that he made. It's pretty explosive. Although I don't think he went quite as deep as to have a Crater Hoof Behemoth. I don't think we're going to see Kibler hoofing anybody here.
Yeah, Kibler might want to rethink his plan after seeing Brad's deck.
He might. Although, you were mentioning it early, Kibler definitely is in his full comfort zone with a deck like this. This is exactly the type of deck that he loves to play. And he's got some nice momentum going here, sitting at 7-0.
A lot of good players at 7-0.
Yep.
Brian Kibler, 6-0-1. There's Brad Nelson. I believe Owen Turnwald was also 7-0 going into this round. And maybe Shahar Shenhar, too.
Jerry was 7-1 now.
7-0-1.
Well, he won that game.
He had a draw.
Jerry?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Brad had a draw. Jerry's 7-1.
Yeah, 7-1.
Yeah, both of those two players we just saw, Jerry and Brad, are into day 2 for sure. And I believe both these players are 7-0, and that they're both into day 2. Win or lose.
These guys?
Yeah, I believe so.
It looks like Daryl's at 6-0-1.
I think that's a carryover from
gotcha.
the Brad Nelson screen.
I believe you are correct, and I have no data to back that up.
Kibler's X-1.
Yeah, so Kibler's X-1. Okay. Yeah, because that makes sense that if Daryl's wasn't updated, that Kibler's also wouldn't be.
Sure.
All right, so these are super important matches here coming down the stretch. Even if you do make day 2, you really need those. A lot of people fall off at the end here. The last 2 rounds of day 1 can get pretty tiring.
Yeah, you can't let that happen.
It looks like Kibler is sent his hand back. Yeah, he is going to take a mulligan here.
Yeah, so both these players are 6-1. We have that confirmed by our spotter on the floor.
So this match is to lock up day 2
Yeah.
and be in a pretty good position. If you can win that last match being X-1.
Huge difference than being X-2.
Yes.
You got some breathing room.
Gives you a little wiggle room, yeah. And that's when you really need it. You know, you're facing a lot of times stiffer competition, better decks.
Stronger competition, right?
Yeah.
You have to imagine as the tournament progresses, you're playing against better and better players. So
that's right. All right, so 6.
We're
And looks like we're going to quick look at Luis versus Shahar.
Shanhar and Luis Scott Vargas.
Luis Scott dash Vargas.
But we're going back to Kibler versus Ayers. And Kibler started things off with a Avison's Pilgrim that quickly got tragic slipped away by Daryl. Turn to Thalia by Brian.
Super solid play.
And that's going to slow Daryl's progression down. Kibler's going to quickly get in with his Thalia, dropping Daryl down to 18.
Smiter go. All right, so instantly he has 6 power on the table.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Cannot be Wrath this turn.
Next turn, though. It doesn't even look like Daryl has Wrath.
He does not have one in his hand either. So this is a very good start for Kibler. But he decides to play around Restoration Angel by just attacking with his Loxodon Smiter.
Yeah, Daryl has Snapcaster Mage, so he could Snapcaster Tragic Slip here,
and he can actually do it too. So is he going to Tragic Slip Thalia, or is he going to Tragic Slip the Smiter?
You'd assume that
also, it makes it kind of awkward for Kibler because he can also just wait. Remember, the Tragic Slip is going to have flashback indefinitely. And in fact, I bet you Kibler played something a little differently maybe than he would have.
Yeah.
You know, he played a card that can't get Tragic Slipped knowing that the Smiter was going to die, or maybe Thalia. All right, so Triumph of Ferocity to see if Kibler gets to get to his upkeep and get a trigger from that Triumph. All right, so he just went. He wanted what he wanted to do was play Lingering Souls and flash it back. He did it in one motion.
Okay.
But Kibler reminded him, dude, you can't
do that because I Thalia.
Yeah, so then he wanted to take it all back, and I think Kibler said, look.
You cast it once.
You cast it once. That one's happened for sure. And, in fact, Kibler does get a Triumph of Ferocity trigger. He does get a Thragtusk on his turn now. And the momentum seems to be pretty firmly over on Kibler's side of the table.
Yeah, with that Gavany Township, that's going to really do Daryl.
Yeah, Kibler doesn't really need to cast creatures now if he doesn't want to.
And he's drawing 2 cards a turn.
Yeah.
I think there's an ultimate price and an Oblivion Ring in Daryl's hand, so if he has another land, he can kill both of Kibler's creatures. But he probably doesn't want to do that. He could kill Thalia and then take care of the Triumph of Ferocity.
He could. He needs a land to do that, though. And he's going to attack with his tokens.
But instead, Supreme Verdict's going to come down and wipe the board. Kibler is going to get a Beast token and draw a second card off of Triumph of Ferocity. He's going to attack, drop Daryl down to 13, and play Garrick Primal Hunter. Azorius Charm drawn for Daryl. Let's see what he wants to do this turn. Thalia's gone, but there's a couple beasts staring him down, and Kibler continues to draw 2 cards a turn. This is the power of Triumph of Ferocity, but it could easily have gone the other way, right? He could have drawn Triumph of Ferocity. Kibler could have drawn Triumph of Ferocity after Daryl had Wrath, and it wouldn't have been quite as good.
Yeah. I think that's why we only see one on Kibler's list. He doesn't want to overcommit.
So now Daryl is going to get away with casting Lingering Souls and flashing it back. Still holding on to that ultimate price, but does not currently have the mana to cast it. So Kibler has to get through that wall of Lingering Souls tokens, but he's going to attack in with his beasts. Let's see if Daryl decides to block in some way.
Kibler's at a pretty comfortable 23 life, so it's not like Daryl can mount an offensive here very easily. Is he taking it?
I guess so.
He's going to go to 7?
Well, and then Kibler's going to use
Yeah,
Township.
and then it's going to go to 5. All right.
You need Supreme Verdict right here and right now.
I mean,
Mr.
Kibler has
Ayers.
just infinite guys. Looks like he's got an Augur of Bolus.
That could draw him into something.
Yeah. Uh-oh, he's deep in the tank. You can tell he's feeling it. Feeling the heat here.
Daryl also has an ultimate price.
He's got an ultimate price and an Azorius Charm, both of which take out beast tokens. You can tell that he's worried about Garrick. He wants to battle into Garrick, but
yeah, it's tough.
he's
Garrick's
in a bad
on 5,
spot. Yeah, so I think this is a good start to his turn, though. Get that Augur out there and see what you hit, because he can still ultimate price. Looks like all he hit was a Thought Scour this time.
That's not what he needed, but he can hold back his creatures to block.
He's going to send 3 of them. And Garrick's going to put him at 2, but remember, Garrick goes up to make beasts, so like he's just going to keep ticking.
Well, Daryl's going to hold back 2 blockers, and he's got the ultimate price and Azorius Charm to take out 2 of Kibler's attackers. But Kibler's still drawing 2 cards a turn from the
he is, and I think that Daryl wanted to keep Kibler's Garrick off of -3 range as well, just to draw 4 or 5 cards.
Yeah.
Although it feels like Kibler isn't one for cards, he's got a bunch in his hand.
So another beast.
Another beast. First main phase, that way when he activates his township, it's good to go. He's going to battle with everybody. Daryl is sitting at 5, so he's got to do a few things here, and he's going to.
But he's really in trouble.
Yeah, he's in a huge amount of trouble here.
Even if he happens to draw a Wrath, he's just set things even and has 0 cards in hand to Kibler's like 4 or 5, right?
4 or 5 plus. Remember, Kibler's got the beast machine there.
Well, I mean, he can.
If he draws a Wrath, he'll just kill it first.
Yeah, he'll kill it first with
okay,
the
fair enough.
Lingering Soul tokens.
So he decided not to use the Azorius Charm there.
Yeah, he wants to hold it to be able to cycle it in case he doesn't draw Wrath of God. And by Wrath of God, I mean Supreme Verdict.
He took some damage there, though, didn't he?
I believe, yeah, he took 2 from the Avacyn's. No, yeah, from the Avacyn's program. He should have taken 2.
It's still showing that he's at 5 life. But. All right, so still no Supreme Verdict in hand.
Can he draw it off of his Azorius Charm? Oh, he did use the Azorius Charm because he saw.
Oh, did he give his guys lifelink or something to gain the life back?
No, because one of Kibler's creatures is gone. I'm not sure.
Didn't he ultimate price though, right?
He still has the ultimate price in his hand.
Oh, okay. No, look, now he is at 1. He did take 2 on that turn then.
Okay.
And he went to 3 from taking 2, and then he just paid 2 life to play a Hollowed Fountain untapped. I do see that he's got the Vault of the Archangel as well. He can use that to sweep away 3 guys, but he's still dead. No, I guess he's not.
He is
dead.
He
would be dead because this is end step, right?
He's got ultimate price though, so he's exactly enough to save himself for another turn and destroy all 3 of Kibler's creatures.
No, the vault costs 4, right?
Yeah, 4 tap the vault, and he's got 2 left open for ultimate price.
Good call. Ooh, he's cutting it close here, though, isn't he?
Yeva is drawn. That's not what Kibler needed, but he's going to make another beast and then attacking with all of his creatures. And so the only play Daryl can make is block the beast's ultimate Price the Avacyn Pilgrim, and then
So
activate Vault of the Arcane
So
Call.
does Kibler have Faith Shield? Yes,
Yep.
he does. Faith Shield.
And that's the game.
That should do it. That should also have tapped out Daryl, and he extends the hand. Kibler
Wow.
finds a way once again to get that green-white deck, that reach he needs. He got him down to 5 pretty easily, but then had to kind of reset, and it looks like